Let's look at creating a loan amortization schedule. So this example will hopefully show you a little bit about, I learn well when I see people do stuff I'm trying to learn. And so I'm just going to show you a little bit about how I work with Excel and all the skills that you picked up in the previous videos. You'll be able to see a lot of them being applied here. Hopefully I'll just reinforce sort of all of your learning. So I'm going to create a loan amortization schedule, and I'm going to go for first just getting the basics of the loan and then laying out an amortization schedule like this. And depending upon time, we could stretch it all the way down, but we could also do conditional logic with it. So if the years change to like 1, there we go. It just goes 2 right there. Versus here, if the years change to 1, right, we throw a bunch of errors. So, let's get started. Down here at the bottom, I click the little plus sign, and that creates a new worksheet. And the first thing I'm going to do is just this information there. So I'll type in loan, and then for the terms, it's amount, annual interest rate, term in years, and payment. So terms, amount, annual interest rate. My dog is saying good morning. Sweet dog. Term in years and payment. Term in years and payment. And, I could stretch this over a little bit so that's not crossing over into another column. And then I want to just enter the data, right? So what's the amount? Let's say 300, 1, 2, 3. And what's the annual interest rate? Let's say 5%. And what's the term in years? Let's do 30 years. And what's the payment going to be? Obviously, I'm going to have to put in a function there. So I will go up to Formulas and choose Insert Function. And I'm going to go down to Financial. There it is. And go for the payment function, PMT. And what's the rate going to be? Well, the rate's going to be 5%, but it'll be over it'll be monthly, right? The payments will be coming monthly, so it's 5% a year. So to get monthly, I'm going to divide by 12. The number of periods will be 30 years, and times 12, because it's 12 months per year. The present value of the loan is what it starts out at. In the future value, it'll be worth $0 once it's all paid off. I will owe no money. And then the type down here, do payments come at the beginning or at the end of the period of the month? And 0 or omitted for at the end. And that's when the payments are going to come. So I'm going to hit OK. And it gives me a negative value. And that's because the loan payment, purple there, so purple, could be seen as a negative, right? Or the loan amount, like I borrowed this. I'm going to put a negative, a negative would go right there, D4. There we go, negative amount. And then I want to format this stuff here. So that's going to be currency. So I'll right click that, choose format cells, and then choose currency. And the years are fine, but this is interest rate. So right click that, format cells, and choose percentage. And 2 decimal places is great. You can see right now I have a loan with 500% interest, which is why my payment's so high. So I'm going to do 5%. There we go. Now my payment looks more reasonable. So $1,600 a month. Fantastic, awesome. How would I create that loan sort of amortization schedule? Well, I'm going to have, first of all, period right there. So what period is the loan in? And this will be 1. And then this will be equal to that plus 1, right? So 1 more period. And then we're going to have, what's the loan amount? Or the loan balance, right? So when I first start off, the loans balance is that amount right there, $300,000. And then I'm going to have a payment. I'm going to make a payment, and my payment is going to be equal to that. There we go. And then I'm going to come over here, and of that payment, how much of that is going to be interest? So I could do this 2 ways. Interest will be, and I could either say, okay, well, my interest is going to be equal to my interest rate, that amount, whoops, put the equal sign in, it's going to be equal to my interest rate for the period, so divide by 12, times the balance of my loan. So that's interest for the period. Or I could also do it one more way, which would be to come up to my financial functions. I'm in my financial functions and choose IMPT, my interest payment. And my rate is going to be that divided by 12. The period that the payment is occurring in it's in the first period in this instance. The number of periods is at that times 12, and the present value of the loan is that. That's what it starts out at, and the future value is 0. And I'm going to make that a negative once more, just because it's the loan, it's a negative. All right, so I hit OK, and I should get the same amount. Perfect. And finally, so, loan, payment, interest, and then what would come at the end of this is loan, payment, interest, interest check, principal, the amount that goes to principal, right? How much got paid to principal, and that would be equal to my entire payment minus whatever I paid on interest. There we go. And then my new loan balance is going to be equal to my old loan balance minus whatever went towards principal. Fantastic. So now all I need to do is sort of copy all these down. So I'm going to look at this formula, and that is equal to D7. The payment's always going to stay the same, so I'm going to make that an absolute right there by putting dollar signs in front of the column and row reference. Go up and copy that and paste it right there. Interest, what's interest? Interest is always going to be, that F4, the D5 right there. So I press F4 to get the absolute reference, but D5 is always going to be, my rate. So I'm going to keep that absolute. But this G10, the loan balance as I move this formula down, should be shifting. So I'm going to hit enter. And again, the way I made that, the shortcut for making a reference absolute is to select the reference and press F4 on your keyboard. So hit enter and copy this one down. There we go. And in this interest function here, if I look at this, D5, do I want to hold that constant? D5 is right there, so yes I do. And F10, do I want to hold F10 constant? No, that should be shifting down as I move my formula, but D6, I want to hold that constant. And D4, I want to hold that constant. So again, I'm just pressing F4 on my keyboard to get those constant. Hit enter. Now I can copy this down. And finally, my principal is going to be equal to this one minus that one, and I want those all to be relative. So I'm just going to copy that down. Fantastic. And now I'm ready to pull this down. So let's expand that. Let's expand that. When you see the pound signs, it means there's numbers back there. So double click right there to get that to come out. And let's get rid of this last one right there. Delete. And then I could just manually kind of come in here and get rid of these things that don't make sense anymore. And, after my loan's all paid off, there's 0 balance. So it all worked out. If only paying off your house was that easy. So that's doing that loan amortization. To format this stuff, I would highlight these things here, go to Merge and Center, maybe make that bold, and I'd grab these here and I'd indent those a little bit, and I'd make this one bold, and maybe make that one bigger. So that's doing the loan amortization.